Elon Musk seems to be trying to out-Trump Trump. Now, as we know, Trump would like to reopen the country as quickly as possible, get people back to work, so stock portfolios don't suffer. And of course, it's premature considering some parts of the country are still seeing an increase of new coronavirus cases. Well, Elon Musk wants in on the action. So he shared his views on Twitter, because that's how people live now, by saying, "Free America now." That was tweet number one, followed by a quote tweet where he included a link to an article about how Texas is opening restaurants, retailers, and other businesses this week. His comment on that was, "Bravo, Texas."
Deep.
And then, yeah, very deep. And then he also included a tweet saying, "Give people their freedom back." And then he responded with true to this tweet by a pro-Trump person who said, "The scariest thing about this pandemic is not the virus itself. It's seeing Americans so easily bow down and give up their blood-bought freedom to corrupt politicians who promise them safety." Now, as we know, we're dealing with a highly contagious virus. It's already killed tens of thousands of Americans, and unfortunately, there are more deaths to come. We have more than 1 million cases of coronavirus now in the country. So this is a dire situation, and we need to keep people safe. But that's not what individuals like Elon Musk or Donald Trump think. Now, look, Elon Musk, of course, when it comes to some things, is an incredibly smart person. On other things, not so smart. Let's watch.
Let's show the glass demo. So first, this is regular glass. This is like normal glass, car glass. We want to show you what happens with normal car glass. Now I'll show you Tesla Armor glass. Yeah. Yeah, so still there. Franz, could you try to break this glass, please? Yeah.
Sure?
Yeah. Oh my God. Well, maybe that was a little too hard.
Oops. So John, give me your thoughts, and then I'll explain with substance and evidence why it's a bad idea to open prematurely.
Yeah, he's not actually Iron Man, everybody. I understand that, like Brett and we were talking like during the break before this segment about it, that there's this trope, and yes, he's built stuff. Okay, he's made some rockets, he made a car. It's great, very impressive. I would love to have a Tesla. But that doesn't mean that he knows about everything. No one is a universal genius. Nobody deserves your blanket faith that they know what they're talking about. So when he has tweeted previously, as people have been pointing out, he tweeted like 4 or 5 weeks ago that by the end of April there would be 0 tests. I think a lot of people think that he goes home to his tech mansion, he turns on his AI butler, and then they run simulations or something like that. That's not happening. He's just guessing. He's not a doctor. There's no reason to believe that he knows anything more about medicine than Anna or me or anyone else. He's a guy who made some cars and a rocket, and it's cool, and it's very hard. But that doesn't mean he's a genius. But while he's not a genius, what he is an attention seeker and a clout chaser. And I couldn't help but notice that Free America Now tweet had 185,000 likes. That's why they tweet this stuff, okay? That's why lots of people say the crazy things that they say, because they are continually given the incentive to do so. Charlie Kirk doesn't tweet because he has all these thoughts and he just has to share them. It's because he knows that there's a lot of idiots that cheer for everything he says.
Yeah, I think you make a great point. And Elon Musk is also a well-to-do guy who, look, the stock markets are doing well because it's all based on like nonsense speculation, of course, stock buybacks through these massive corporate bailouts. And so that's helping the market stay afloat. But I'm always super skeptical of anyone who's heavily invested in the stock market urging us to get back to work as soon as possible. Right? You're right. I don't think he's a dumb person. Of course, he's smart in some ways, especially when it comes to, the tech industry and what he's, done with armored glass. I mean, excellent product there. But he's not a health expert. He's not a doctor. The only thing that he can do if he wants to have an informed opinion on when to open is maybe look at some case studies around the world, because the United States isn't the only country that's dealing with this pandemic. And so I want to give you all an example for why it's a terrible idea to prematurely open. In Hokkaido, Japan, they thought that they had effectively combated the virus, and they decided to open companies, open businesses back up. But unfortunately, they have suffered the consequences of that, and they had to go back to stay-at-home orders and social distancing. So again, the island of Hokkaido is experiencing a second wave of coronavirus infections and deaths that experts say could have been avoided if the state of emergency had not been lifted too early. Local authorities lifted the state of emergency on March 19th, with schools and businesses reopening. With hindsight, experts agree it was too early, and just 26 days later, and after 135 new infections were reported in the space of a week, the lockdown was reimposed on 5.3 million residents. So look, I don't know what his motivations are for sure. We're obviously speculating. But if you care about doing this right, then we need to be careful. We need to rely on data. We need to rely on case studies, because what we need to prioritize over anything else, including being able to go out there and have fun, is saving as many human lives as possible. That should be the priority. And, you know, I think California's done a pretty good job, and they've recently released, you know, kind of like a timeline of how they're going to open things up in, you know, a staggered fashion. Let's just be responsible and do this right, so we don't have to go back to stay-at-home orders and, you know, drag this process out longer than it needs to.
Thanks for watching The Young Turks. Really appreciate it. Another way to show support is through YouTube memberships. You'll get to interact with us more. There's live chat emojis, badges. You've got emojis of me, Anna, John, JR. So those are super fun. But you also get playback of our exclusive member-only shows and specials right after they air. So all of that, all you gotta do is click that join button right underneath the video. Thank you.